Hi all, and welcome to my new video related to Bitcoin education. In this video, I will debunk the statement that Bitcoin will never be used mainstream as a medium of exchange because it's too volatile. This is something that people are used to say when we discuss about the potential use of Bitcoin as medium of exchange. The thing is, it's very intuitive. Say, okay, it's too volatile. It was 60K, then it became now 20K, then it maybe go to 40K, then to 10K. So how can we use to buy something and then if the next day or the next weeks the price changed too much. And the thing is, with the actual volatility, in fact, Bitcoin at the moment is actually not good money in terms of medium of exchange. We have few companies or shops who accept also Bitcoin, and two countries in the world who accept this a medium of exchange. But at this moment, to think that they can become medium of exchange in the Western world as we use the euro, the dollar, is I agree that at this point is not possible. But this doesn't mean that we'll have that cannot become a medium of exchange in the future. And in fact, this is a really short-term thinking. It's hard to see the potential of a new disruptive technology because before it happens. When the car was invented, when internet was invented, the vast majority of people were always short-term thinking, and they were saying, for example, for the car will never be a good method of transportation because the roads are for horses, and because there are not enough fuel stations, or because it was not enough safe and because the car was breaking down. But guess what? Then the roads were made, the infrastructure upgraded, and the roads were made for the car. The fuel station increased, and the safety also increased. And so these people were always stuck in the short-term thinking how the car, instead to focus on the property of the cars and the potential of the cars, they were seeing the actual situation, and they were relating the actual situation with the potential, and that's completely wrong. The same for the internet. In the 90s, there were written a lot of PhDs saying why internet will fade away or it could not scale because, for example, it takes too long to send an email or download a video. And that was true in the 90s. Also, to download a page, it was taking too long. But then now the technology changed, and now we use car or internet in our everyday life. Let's move now to this long term. It's important to have this long term thinking to see the property and the long term thinking. Studying the history of money, we see that money has three characteristics: store of value, medium of exchange, a unit of account. For a good or a commodity to become money depended which properties it had in terms of salability across time, space, and scale. Rainstones, gold, salt, agri-beads, seashells, they become all money in different societies because of their monetary properties in terms of store of value, medium of exchange, a unit of account. So salability across time, store of value. Salability across space, medium of exchange. Salability across time, across scale, unit of account. And Bitcoin, the property of Bitcoin are by far better than any other form of money. Only for acceptability still behind gold and paper money because it is young, but for all the other, Bitcoin is by far the best. In general, a good or commodity becomes first a store of value, then a medium of exchange, and then a unit of account. And this is what the people struggle. Money doesn't become money in one shot, but generally they start as a store of value, then medium of exchange, and then unit of account. While becoming a store of value, the history of the good as money is relatively young and a high volatility is very normal. Also because before becoming a store of value, it's considered a speculative asset. That's why you see so much volatility. And the thing is, once Bitcoin becomes the world reserve currency, its market cap will be much higher than now, and most of the people of the world would own Bitcoin as a portion of his net worth. Net worth. We will have companies, maybe states, retail investor, institutional investor. Each of them, as we now have ETFs, people have mostly ETFs or stocks. They will or bonds. They will have also Bitcoin. Let's look in the deep of the history of money. And you see that we are still quite young. And the first step will be reliable store of value, then medium of exchange, and unit of account. In fact, at the beginning, it was a digital collectible. At the beginning, in fact, you see the story in 2013-14, Bitcoin was a nerd thing, only for people who were really believing, like were nerds in terms of software or cyberpunks. The group of people who wanted to have money separate from the state, that the state should not, and also censorship resistance, that the state cannot confiscate this money. Then he moved to a speculative asset. Here you see the speculation, and more people will want to buy it and hold it. It was in 2017, 18, 19, 20. And then more and more people are try to understand Bitcoin and understand Bitcoin. Later will be more education and understanding, more decentralization, more custodian solution, and at one point it will become store of value. Once it becomes store of value, then the market cap will be much higher, and then we can discuss about being medium of exchange. But Bitcoin has also the best properties to become also medium of exchange because it is very visible, divisible. There are 21 million Bitcoin 21 million Bitcoin in total, and there will ever be. And this is also scarcity, the best properties. But every Bitcoin can be divided in 100 million Satoshi. So there will be always be enough Satoshi for everyone. And also we just miss, and is also portable. And we can move across space very easy. Actually, it's the best because you can move from continents in few seconds with low fees. The only thing that is missing is acceptability, and for that we need time. And we need time because we need people getting educated in Bitcoin. Education is hard because it's a new technology and because it's very complex. But Bitcoiners are patient and have time. They are waiting the financial world to understand it. If you are not patient, then you didn't understand Bitcoin. Let's look at my personal opinion, three statements for me. So for me, what I think, Bitcoin will become store of value recognized worldwide, and by the end of the decade, it will become the world's reserve currency. I mean, sure, 100%, no one is sure 100% about anything. We can have different. The world can go also in another way that we are thinking. But if I should bet, I will bet that by the end of the decade, Bitcoin will be the store of value recognized worldwide. So every company, let's say also Apple, Amazon, Google will have Bitcoin in their balance sheet. Every retail investor, institutional investor will own a portion of Bitcoin in their net worth. 3%, 5%, 10, 20. This depends from the sensibility and the education of the people, but it will be offered also they started already for 401k to US people, and it just takes time to become store of value, but we will reach it. And for this, I have no doubt. For me, at that point, it will be worth between 500k and $1 million. It will take more or less the market of gold, and the volatility will be much lower for two reasons. Firstly, because already many people invested on it, and secondly, if we go to 500, when is 500k will be probably 10 million market cap, and to go from 10 million to 20 million, it will take other 10 trillion of dollars. So to make 100%, it will take much more. So the volatility will be much lower. It will be more accepted. Perfect condition to become a medium of exchange, but it will take time. And the discussion how important will be medium of exchange, this no one really knows. It can be parallel to the dollars and to the euro. It can be that the dollar and the euro will be backed by Bitcoin, or it could be that also we will use only Bitcoin. This, I think everyone who is forecasting this for sure, it's a too bold statement. We don't know. And we will see, but Bitcoin has all the properties. For sure will become a form of medium of exchange, but we will see this once it become a store of value. And as said before, for me, store of value at one point or by the end of the decade is sure, or let's say almost sure. Last thing, my recommendation, because anyone who is correlating the actual volatility with Bitcoin potential to become medium of exchange is already a proof that he has no clue about the history of money. I say it again, he has no clue about the history of money. If he has no clue about the history of money, he didn't study enough Bitcoin to understand Bitcoin. So I recommend you to disregard every comment this person is doing because he has a big lack of education or history of money. And you cannot understand Bitcoin if you have a lack of education in Bitcoin. You could still understand if you have just a basic understanding of the blockchain and not that deep, but with the history of money, no way. You need to have a deep knowledge on the history of money in order to understand Bitcoin. We will see by the end of the decade. This year is 2022, and we will see in the next years. Thanks, and have a nice day. Bye.